Hello and welcome to the Culture Magazine on I-24 News. Today we have a very special show for you, an in-depth interview with prominent Israeli author A.B. Yehoshua. Translated into over 30 different languages, this political novelist has always been very outspoken about his views. At times, his statements have ruffled feathers, both in Israel and among the Jewish diaspora. I was thrilled to go and meet this award-winning Israeli icon in his home, where we talked about his views on politics and Israel's identity, and finally, his new novel, which he just completed. Yehoshua, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
And for hosting us in your home. I must admit, I was very surprised when I heard that we'll be interviewing you at your home in Givatayim, because to me, you were always an integral part of Haifa. I was your waiter in a cafe in Haifa many years ago. I'm sure you will remember me very well. And also your stories, Haifa always plays a major part in them.
I would say I was born in Jerusalem. I'm fifth generation in Jerusalem. But after the Six-Day War, I decided, my wife and myself, we decided to go to Haifa in order to be in Eretz Israel, because Jerusalem was becoming, I would say, full of problems. Mm-hmm. First of all, the unification, I would say the fake unification of the city, the religious sectors that was becoming very, very extreme. So my decision was to go to Haifa, because Haifa is connected to Eretz Israel in general. And we were planning to stay in Haifa, but all my three children had moved to Tel Aviv, right. And we had been doing the shuttle between Tel Aviv and Haifa, but we are not so young, so we decided, and especially because our grandchildren are here, so we decided to come here and to be here in Am Israel. This is the
people of Israel. When you look around at what Israel is these days, and you think about your grandkids growing up here, are you optimistic about the future?
I am not optimistic about the peace solution, and I think that we must do an effort, and the world has to do an effort. Those people who cares about Israel, they have to bring the two sides to a peace agreement by all their force, and they have their force to do it. And first of all, the question of the settlement. This is the big problem. The big problem is the settlement. Now we have about 400,000 settlers. I don't think that we can take them all, but this is the proposition that I am working for, and the proposition is that we have a Palestinian minority inside Israel that is 20% of our population. Right. There can be also a Jewish minority, those who want to stay there, a Jewish minority inside the Palestinian state. It will be about 3% of the population, of the Palestinian population. They can bear it, and we have to do all the arrangement, the security arrangement to accommodate this.
This is an idea that only recently has been in the public eye and was treated as a dream, a nightmare to some.
And now I have to say that I have spoke about it already 30 years ago.
Let's talk for a little bit about identity, which plays a role in any of the things we've talked about so far. Jewish, Israeli. My first question is how do you define yourself?
I am an Israeli, meaning, what it means Israel? Israel is the original name of the people of Israel. Right. For about 1,000 years, only the name Israel was. In the book of prayer, you will find Israel. You will not find Jewish. Jewish is an extra that was coming later. When we return from the diaspora here to the land of Israel, and this is called Eretz Israel, we are returning back to our original identity, meaning Israeli. In Israel, there is an Arab minority or Palestinian minority. This is not something special. There are many countries in the world in which there are minorities, national minority, like the Basque in Spain, like the Catalan, like in many places.
But we are special in some ways. We are special in the sense that the coming back to Israel that you speak of is done because of one's Jewishness.
No, we came back because of Israel. If we were only Jews, we would stay in the diaspora as we stayed for 2,000 years. No, we came back because we wanted to be Israeli. And this is in the declaration of the independence. We are now establishing a Jewish state, meaning the state of Israel. This is the name. And this is what we are returning backwards to what we have been in the past. And this is what we are doing. So if we had been only Jewish, Jew can be all over the world. This is not the problem. Jew does not have a relationship to a territory. This is what is happening to us. The relationship, the gene of territory is defected in the Jews.
So in one sense, you're saying that what defines us is the place that we are.
This is what we said, but we did not take seriously this definition. We had been a people that was created outside his territory. You can imagine that the French were created as French people in Hungary, and then they were coming to France and becoming French. This is impossible. Territory is the mother. You cannot be born without a mother.
So you're saying that now we're actually going back to our true definition.
To our true definition, to our true identity, to our...
Right, but Israel does exist, and does, any Jew in the world can come to Israel and become an Israeli with the law of return.
Yes.
Right. And you've also, I read...
This is Zionism.
Right, which means that Israel is the national home of the Jewish people.
If they want.
Yeah. Now, you've written in Haaretz about these questions: who is an Israeli, who is a Jewish person, who is a Zionist?
Yes.
And you've said there that a Jewish person to you should be whoever defines themselves as a Jewish person.
Yes.
If you see yourself as a Jewish person, you are a Jewish person.
Yes, this is unfortunately, definition of a Jew is a very anarchistic and problematic.
Right.
Because who is a Jew? Who is a Jew? According to the Halacha, a Jew, first of all, you have to understand it's the definition of a nation and not a definition of a religion. You cannot say Muslim, Christian, and Jew. You have to say Muslim, Christian, and a religious Jew.
Right.
But you can say American, Argentinian, and Jew. Jew is it's a national affiliation.
Right.
But, of course, who is a Jew? A Jew, according to the Halacha, is who has a Jewish mother.
And the state of Israel, according to its laws, sees it the same way.
Not exactly. It was, in the beginning, the definition of a Jew, when the state was created, a Jew is a person who declares himself as a Jew. This was in 1948, when millions of Jews were coming.
And we needed to bring them here.
Yes, and then there was a change, and we spoke about the halachic definition, a person who was I would say a Jewish mother, or who was converted to Judaism. Now the problem was which conversion, the Orthodox conversion, the Reform conversion. But in the recent years, you saw the people that were coming from Russia. Right. Some of them have only a Jewish father or a grandfather that was Jewish, and we accepted them. Mm-hmm. So the question is, because the halachic definition is not correct. If you have a Jewish mother, you can convert yourself, and then the Jewish mother will not make you Jewish. And if you did not have a Jewish mother, you can convert yourself to Judaism. So the Jewish mother is only also a kind of a symbol. Mm-hmm. And the fact is, and this is a problem, that a Jew is a person who identifies himself as a Jew. And I admit this is a very complicated and anarchistic definition, but this is definition.
Now, if we take these problems into account, and if we take into account the fact that the world in today's globalized society, when people move and live far away from home and marry people from different backgrounds and then raise their kids at another different place, can the law of return maintain its historic role? Can the state of Israel remain a Jewish state?
I have to say to you, first of all, I don't agree with you that all the world is changing. Millions of people, I don't see that 1,500,000 Chinese are going all the time. How they can go? How it's not easy to move. The Jews are moving. The Jews are moving. But 1,400,000 Chinese are moving. And I don't know, there is 1 million Indians are moving.
Okay.
You know that half of the Americans do not have even a passport. You heard about it? Half of the Americans don't have even a passport.
But let's talk about the people that Let's talk about the people we know, because in Israel it is
a malady. This is a malady to have many passports, and when people are taking now passport from the Spanish embassy or from the Polish embassy, for me it is a disease, and this is the people that don't believe in the country in which they are living there. You cannot, if you have, the problem for me is the commitment. When I am an Israeli, I have a commitment to all the people who are living here. I am dominated by the Jews. I am sent to war by the Jews. I am responsible for the Jews. In the diaspora, the Jew is free from the Jews.
What do you think is the role, if any, of the Jewish diaspora in Israel?
In Israel, they can support Israel, I don't know, in many ways, but it does not worth. A Jew that is coming here is worth 10 times a Jew that gives money here. I want them physically here. They can give their talent, they can give their spirit, they can give their experience. This is important. The fact that one Jew there in Baltimore sent $1 million or $100,000 here, it does not worth the same thing when he is coming here with his family, when he is here, when he is a friend of mine, when he is responsible to what we are responsible here. This is so. When people in America, especially, say, "Without you, we cannot. You could not survive." If without the Jews we cannot survive, for Israel will not survive. Why Denmark can survive with 6 million? Why Norway can survive? We can survive if Jews will be here, and this is the most important. And Zionism was created, by 2% of the Jewish people. 2%. The majority of the Jewish people didn't want Zionism. 2% of the Jews were starting Zionism in the beginning of the 20th century. And without Zionism, after the Holocaust, we would have only museum of Holocaust and not at least this consolation of a state of our own.
Your last book was called in English Retrospective. What comes after Retrospective?
No, as I say to your colleague, I'm writing now, I'm towards the end of a novel that I've written in the last 3 years about a totally different subject, about a woman, 46. She's an harpist. She played the harp.
Is it the first time that you have a woman as your main character?
This is the first time, and you have to be brave to do it. And I remember very well, we met once Sol Bello. We have been friends with Sol Bello. And the types of women in Sol Bello writing are awful, terrible. And he always spoke, the main protagonist was a man, was a woman. And then my wife was saying to him, he received already the Nobel Prize, and we sat in to dinner, and she was saying to him, to be a great writer, you have to put a protagonist in the other gender. And I was a little bit annoyed how she dared to say to him, especially after the description of terrible women. I remember he changed about 5 women, something like that, marriages, and I know his former wife that was so angry about him, and things like that. And you know, the 3 great novels of the 19th century were written by men, by writers. Tolstoy, Anna Karenina, Madame Bovary of Flaubert, and Effie Briest of Fontana. So I don't pretend that my novel will be, but in the last years of my career, I'm 77 already. It's coming to an end.
No spring chicken.
No, it is end. So I hope that my women protagonists will be a declaration that I like women not less than I like men.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your interview and
Thanks again.
Okay.